Hi, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus again. I'm going to share with you a conversation that I had with you a few days ago. It had to do with George Floyd's death. During that time, I used that video to represent a message that I could see that the universe at least was sending to people like myself who could pick it up. And this is what I saw. When I saw the policeman, I refuse to repeat his name. When I saw him with his knee on George Floyd's neck, he represented, the policeman represented the powers on earth. It represented governments on earth. It represented capitalism. It represented democracy. It represented communism. It represented socialism. It represented dictatorships. It represented governments all over the world. But each government, based upon the fact that this knee was on this man's neck, represent a government absent the love of God, absent the love of the Creator. Now that's what that represented. Now George Floyd represented the suffering and the persecution that all people have always had to go under, living under this government in the beginning up until this day without the love of God. It didn't matter how you cried out, how you tried to warn people that it hurt, that they were suffocating you, the powers of the world, it does not matter. They got you for one thing, and that's all that is, to use you, to abuse you, and you do not matter. Now, that was represented of people in the United States. That was represented in people in South America, Central America, Russia, China, everywhere that human beings live. That persecution, unless it's a perfect society. If not, then somebody's suffering. And if it is, it's suffering because of lack of God's love. Now, no matter how this man cried out, there were people there with cameras. There were people shouting, "Get off him," reminding the cops, reminding the powers that be. That's like in the streets protesting. They were protesting right there at the scene of the crime. "Get off him. He's dying. Leave him alone." And none of that mattered. None of that mattered. So what happened? George ended up calling for his mother, who was not there. He was calling for help from a source that was not available to him. So what was that saying? That was saying that we, the people in this country, are under this system right here. We have seen it just like it is. God showed us just like it is. Just like it is. For what? To see what we are going to do. To see what we are going to do. Now this is real. The protest, when people got said protesting is not enough, I'm going to do more, I'm going to tear up some stuff. Now you start seeing where it really mattered with the powers that be, not the white people that was out there with you, but the powers that be, those who are sold out to making money and all that kind of stuff. They say, "Oh, you got to stop now. Got to stop now." So you send in the National Guards. All of a sudden, George Floyd does not mean too much. And the Trump, he wants to send out the people with the guns. So he tell you George Floyd don't mean nothing. And I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, every cop that came out there with a billy club is nothing but a repeat of that cop with his knee on George Floyd's neck. That's what it is. That's what it all is. Now, let me see if I can sum this up. The people with the cameras. What is the message that God is trying to share with you? I know you think you did something good. But in reality, God wants you to know a different message. And let me share with you the message that God wants you to know. God wants you to know that all of your protesting with the devil did not mean a darn thing. Your videotaping it, your showing it to the country, showing it to the world, didn't mean a darn thing, except it proved you a weakling. It proved you a coward, because the love of God would have required that somebody would have held a camera and the rest of you couldn't even hear. You'd have took that copper off that boy's neck so doggone fast, it'd have been a crying shame. And you know what you would have represented? You would have represented the love of God. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I know what I'm talking about. I know I was here. I found myself caught in the grasp of death several times, and there was not a human being around anywhere. But a power that I couldn't see, couldn't touch, couldn't feel came to my rescue and saved me to come back and tell you that the purpose in living is love. The joy that you can have. If you don't have love, you're robbed out of everything. You got crime and violence and cheating and stealing and killing and racism and bigotry and hatred in your societies because you don't love. Now you say, who that don't love? None of you love. It doesn't take but one person to stand up for love. If he knows what love is and love is in him, there's nothing you can do but love. Martin Luther King, a lover. Malcolm X, a lover. All of those who've been killed for standing up are lovers. And the rest of us are cowards and bigots. I don't care how much you call yourself an alpha or American or how great you are. God say you are a coward. And the evidence that he says to you through that scene that I've just explained is that the answer is not in the stuff that you've been doing. The answer is outside of the box. The answer is in God. If you don't trust God, you're never going to fix the society. To fix a society that eliminates the pain and suffering that people go through, you got to care. If you don't give a care, then you deserve everything that you get. So I'm going to leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. Take it for what it's worth.